Hello, we are going to today share the learning of conversation upon arrivals in Japanese. So either you are arriving or you're hosting someone that's arriving. What can we say? So here's the agenda for the lessons. So the first one, we are going to talk about the differences in kanji in the Chinese setting versus the Japanese setting. And then we are going to talk about the new vocabularies that will be used in these conversations. The third one, we are going to talk about the particles in the grammar, how they're being used and represented. Namely, the first one, the difference between ga versus wa. Here to note that the word ha, when it's being used as particle, it should be pronounced as wa. And then we are also going to mention about the use of no as a particle. And then lastly, we are going to present the verb tenses for some of the words that are used in these conversations. And here comes the new vocabularies. So the first one is tadaima. So this one is being used when you are telling people that you have come back. Actually, the complete sentence should be Tadaima motorimashita. Motorimashita. So the real part that's representing coming back is actually motorimashita. But to make it short and brief, usually people just say the front part, which is tadaima. The literal meaning of tadaima is actually right now. So basically, you're saying, I have come back now, right? But then you only say now to, to make it simple and brief. And the next one is if you are introducing someone else has come back. So you should say someone ga tsukimashita. Tsukimashita. So tsuki here is the verb has arrived or has come back. So the original form of this verb tsuki is tsuku. So we are going to talk about this transformation of this word, why it's being transformed from tsuku to tsuki. Mashita is basically a ending part of a verb to represent its past tense. So basically, so if you want to say someone has come back, and then you say someone ga tsukimashita. So the ga here is to indicate the things before it is actually the subject. Okay. Um, and then the next new word is adalashi. Adalashi. So, it's an adjective means new. So, for example, if you wanna say the new tenant, so you're gonna say adalashi junin. There are some other ways to say new. So, for example, you can say saishin. So it means the latest. Or you can say meadalashi. So we know that May means eyes. So atalashi is basically this thing, right? This thing. So you're saying, oh, someone's refreshingly new, make your eyes refreshed or make your eyes new. So it's me atalais. No, me atalashi, right? So it's refreshingly new. Atalashi. So this is new. And then the next one is Junin. So Junin, this is the pronunciation. Junin, it means the tenant. And then this one is Hajime Mashite. So Haji is the means first time, right? Haji. So this word in green is Haji means first time. Me is I, right? Mashite is just, whatever that's some appendix after some word. Um, so basically it means that first I, right? So okay, nice to see you, it's like nice to see you, the first time. Yeah. So this one, next one is onegai shimasu. Onegai shimasu. So it means please, or you know okay, so if we phrase down break down this phrase. So O is please, right? It's something please with respect. So onegai means wish. She is do. Must is just something, appendix after some meaningful words. So yeah, basically it means, please with respect, right? Um, yeah. So for example, this next one is yoroshiku, 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 right? So it means um something, like saying as a nice thing to say when you first meet someone. It means like, okay, please take care of me or something, like stuff, just some stuff nice to say, right? So therefore, if you usually this thing is you will say when you first meet someone, right? Or when you join something as a newbie, right? So therefore you put these two things together to say it's like yoroshiku onegai shimasu, right? Yeah, so this is what you would say. And then um this one is yokoso. Yokoso means welcome. Yokoso. So this one is ku, right? But then you kind of like combine the first one with the second one together. It becomes yokoso. Yokoso, right? Welcome. So yeah. So that's what you would say to someone when that person has arrived, welcome. Yokoso, right? But then if you're saying welcome to a customer, you're not gonna say yokoso. So it's not that you're not gonna say, but you can say something even nicer, right? More polite, which is this one. Irashaimashita. Irashaimashita. So you kind of like combine this ya yi become yai, right? So this thing is kind of like a brief stop in the middle. You don't really pronounce it, but you kind of just make like a abrupt stop. So it becomes like ila irashaimashita, irashaimashita, right? So this is to say to the customer for welcoming. Okay, so these are the new words you can use when you're saying things upon arrivals, whether it's you yourself or someone else. And I would like to also just mention something new that I've learned is this kanji differences. So this one, right? Oh yeah, oh yeah. So um the original kanji it's this, right? Like this one. Oh yeah. In the Chinese setting it means everybody. It means like minasan, right? But then in the Japanese setting it actually means the landlord. Oh yeah, right. It's the landlord. So that's something interesting to learn. And so this part, we're gonna talk about the grammars, so the particles. Um, the most used are ga and wa, right? A lot of the times people are kind of confused about when to use what. So for ga, you have the subject before it. So if you want to emphasize the things before it, you use ga. But if you want to emphasize the things after or things that are coming, so you use wa. And for example, like watashi wa blah 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 blah, right? So you want to emphasize the stuff coming after the wa. Um, and there are sometimes when people use the subject and the ga and then wa. In this case, a lot of the times the ga will just be omitted and then it just become directly the subject plus wa. So therefore, you can see a lot of times it's just the subject plus wa. And for the object, it's used to be appended as for wo, right? Wo, this one. And and sometimes it's also being again appended the wa. So therefore, so the wa will be omitted, and then you will just see the object plus the wa, right? So here's the typo here, not ga but wa, right? And if you want to indicate the place, so you will append the place with de. If you wanna indicate it's a time, then you're gonna append the time with ni because in Japanese, right, the verb always comes last. But all these other things before the verb, you're gonna actually append a particle after those meaningful words to indicate the grammatical function or position of that word. So it's all these particle, right, that we list here to indicate what are these words are serving as a function in the sentence. Okay, if that makes sense. So for example, so here, right, we just learned these new vocabularies at the beginning. So this one, adalashi, right? Adalashi, junin ga tsukimashita yo. So it means this ga right here. Then when you see the ga right here, it means whatever comes before it is actually the subject. And then the later part, the last part is tsukimashita. It means has arrived, right? So it just means that the new tenant has arrived, right? So yeah, so that's how they're being used. Um, and then we also would want to talk about the no, right? No is another particle. It can be used in other cases, but we just would like to mention one case here. So, for example, this one, right? So this no before no, it's doctor, and then after no, it's that doctor's name. So basically, this null thing is to connect the two nouns that explain each other. So basically, you want to say Doctor Who, Doctor blah blah, right? So before these two nouns, you're gonna put no in between. So the doctor and blah blah, they all basically talk about the same guy, same person, right? It's all referring to the same person, but you gotta just use this na to combine, to put these two nouns together. Or this word is from the NHK Japanese lesson, right? So we learned that this oya, this means landlord, right? Oya no harusan desu. So oya is landlord, so which refers to that person's title, position, or whatever. So, Oya no Salusan. So, is that landlord's name? So, therefore, no, it's basically can use, you know, to basically talk about or refer, explain someone's title or something's nature or content. So it's basically a connection particle to put two nouns together to explain each other. Okay, so that's what no can be used as a particle in one case. There are other cases, but then we're gonna maybe talk about it in later time. And and I would also like to talk about the verb tenses that we would see. So the most common verb tenses is the must, right? So before saying that, we are briefly mention again um, how how are the rules for verbs, right? So we know that all verbs they all end with the u sound, right? So for example, u, ku, s, ts, nu, hu, fu, right? Mu, yu, lu, bu, gu, right? So all u sound. Um, and then there are two different types of verbs. So the most commonly seen are the first type, which is the verb that does not end with lu because otherwise the other types of this, especially the second type, it usually ends with lu. So this first type verb, it doesn't end with lu. It ends with some other u sound, right? So for example, u, yi, so it means speak, right? Or ci, right? Um, or ku, right? Kiku, iku, right? This is to go, iku. Um, or if it does end with lu, then it's not ending with iu or eu. So for example, um, this one, right? This one, talu, right? So it's even though it ends with lu, but it's not iu or eu, but like talu, right? Um, yeah, or it's a kanji with a lu ending. So for this type of verbs, um, so this column is the most important column, I guess, that are most commonly used. So you got to change the u ending to I ending, right? So therefore, to its corresponding I landing. So for example, if it's right, then it becomes I because we know a, I, U, E, O, right? So this is the column of the U, so I, U, so you need to change the U to its corresponding I sound. Um, so this one, I sound, right? If it's could, right, then it's gonna be changed to key, right? Because key is the could columns E sound and so forth, right? And then after you change this ending sound, and then you're gonna append masu to represent a present tense or a habitual action verb, right? Or you can append mashita. So mashita is a polite form or can be used as a past tense, right? Or it can be masu. So masu. So okay, something like basically means let's do it together kind of thing, right? Or it can be become masho, like ikimasho, right? It just means that okay, let's go together, right? So that's what you usually hear, right? This one, iki, right? If iku becomes ikimasho means let's go together, right? And then another transformation is sometimes te, right? Te, right? So when are you gonna append te after the verb? Is if there are some other verbs that you would like to add after your first verb. So then you need to append te after the first verb.